Also, here's something I was curious about. You can lose the opening battle if you don't attack, although it does take a while because you're pretty much going to have to defend, and you just redo the battle or return to title screen anyway, so no big deal. Anyway, welcome back everyone, this is Arafelin playing Dungeon Breaker. And first of all, I'm going to demonstrate something I forgot to note earlier. Now you can click on the map to move around, but if you hold shift, you will zoom forward, although you do still have to fight any battles along the way. Also, you'll note on the map it's showing a tile there as though you can explore it, but if you look at where that's showing in the actual view, there's no way to get there. It's just kind of this isolated island of stuff, so that showing up on the map at all is kind of an artifact of the design, apparently. So anyway, the story started with Alec and Tina being asked to go investigate this cave of monsters after a merchant was attacked on the way to the village. However, they found after getting in here that there are bandits here, like human-type bandits. They were even taking advantage of a young woman who they rescued and brought back to the town. So it seems likely the boss will be in here, and Alec has basically sworn that he will pay. But yes, indeed, there is someone here. Saying, let's listen in. He's yelling about, you still haven't found the merchant that ran away. Is your head made of slime? And we have no idea where he went. If we don't find them, then I think that was roughly Duke, will realize that we used the monsters we brought to do thieving. Like, well, you're the one who decided that. We were supposed to be investigating the cave. Apparently his name is Gale, and he's her older brother. But he wants to be called Oni-sama rather than Oni-chan, so that's a much more deferential and less familiar form of address, so basically he's demanding a lot of respect that it seems he doesn't really deserve. He's got a bit of an attitude problem. It seems her name is Sorsha, so Sorsha, basically. And he's saying if the Velmark house, family, whatever, hadn't gone to ruin, basically, he would be the eldest son of a baron. I should be called, Kaka, basically? Yes, if things got better, you would have been calling me Gale, Your Excellency. Yes, but our family hasn't been baron whatever since grandfather's time. And he's getting kind of annoyed, saying, I'll get us back in the nobility one way or another. And we need money for that. So apparently they're both monster tamers, or Itachi. So they've got a lot of monsters thanks to the Duke's money. And he figures, hey, we've got them, we should use them. She's obviously uncomfortable with this, but also isn't comfortable actually disagreeing with him. So in any case, he hopes to use that to get them back into the nobility. And Tina's realizing there's the one who attacked well. It's not the monsters that are responsible, it's the monster tamers. And Alec does not take well to misusing monsters like that. Reminds him we're supposed to go report to the Elder. But he stepped on something. Made some noise, stepped on a rock, I think. They're noticed. It's like, do we pull back now? It's like, no. As another monster tamer, what they're doing bothers me. I'm gonna catch them. It's like, Sasha, what are you doing? Call out all your monsters. It's like, they're all out thieving. God, what are you doing, you idiot little sister? Well, it was your orders. And here goes Alec, and we are fighting them. Gale has appeared, Sasha has appeared. He looks so cocky, I want to wipe that smug grin off his face. So let's do that. Start with Sonic Slash on Gale. At some point, Tina will earn this, which is, I think it's a first aid kind of thing. It does some healing. But other than that, we just have our same basic attack skills. Gale has a multi-target attack there. And Sasha can use healing herbs on him. So, change of tactics. Hit her first. Always take out the healers. Also, she's not as durable. He does his multi-target attack again, but we should have this well in hand now. Okay, she's out of MP. Caracal still has more, despite having fewer MP because her skill costs less. And there, easy win. That looks like a heal all medicine. And we got a gem of Ravatiana, so can summon an additional monster. But Gale is not happy. He's like, who are you people? And being the more sensible one, she says, let's get out of here. It's like, you'll pay for this next time. Wait. But they are quick to run. So they got away. But at least the threat is neutralized. It's like, okay, we didn't get them, but what were they doing here? They said they brought monsters to look for something. I don't know why they were doing that, but if nothing else, it can't be good. And she's saying, well, this is the first time I've seen a monster tamer besides you and my big sister. It's like, well, it's kind of a shock that these first ones you've met are doing bad stuff. Like, well, no use worrying about it. Let's go back to the town and report. And we are magically back in the village. The elder is getting his explanation. It's like, well, I thought you were just a child, but it seems you know what you're doing. It's like, you hear that, Mom and Dad? I've grown. Alec's father seems less than impressed. It's like, don't do anything dangerous. It's like, this is your fault for getting too caught up in that. It's well to the merchant, saying, all's well that ends well, basically. Alec did do well. And he'll be able to resume doing his merchanting. Caracal is doing a little quiet mewing. It's like, is that the monster you caught? Yep, it's called Caracal. Doesn't listen to anyone except me, so don't touch her. It's like, how strange. I've been through a lot of trouble at the hands of monsters and thought of them as these terrifying existences, but like this, she just seems like an ordinary girl. It's like, well, even monsters have good ones and bad ones, just like people. The merchant's thinking, yeah, you may have a point. And come to think of it, I've been at worse stuff at the hands of humans than at monsters. Yep. Anyway. Alec is asking again to go to the capital city of Sharon. Like Karen, I'm not going to be a kid forever, you know. And she's saying she'll go with him, so please let Alec go. It's like, hey, Tina? It's like, it's normal for a little sister to go see her big sister. And if you're going to complain, you're not going either. What? And his father says, well, in that case, that's okay. Tells Alec to protect Tina. It's like, hey, I wanted to go see her on my own and get some advice. and become a first-rate monster tamer and mostly about it. That could be taken a few different ways, but basically what he's saying is he was going to become his plan was to become a first-rate monster tamer and get married to Karen, or do other things with her, perhaps. In any case, Tina's calling him an idiot, which is fair. So, that night, he's mumbling about her in his sleep when Brill shows up. This is a young woman we rescued from the bandits earlier. She comes in here, asks if he's awake. He's like, what are you doing here in the middle of the night? Well, she wanted to properly thank him for rescuing her. It's like, hey, no big deal. I could blow those guys away any day of the week. It's like, you're so nice. After what happened, she's feeling uncomfortable with men. And just the elder putting his hand on her shoulder was enough to make her scream. It's like, okay, but you can get used to him little by little, calm yourself down and all that. And she's asking him to help her with that. It's like, huh? What do you mean? I'll do anything you want. Anyway, he saved her, so she's not scared of him, so she wants him to help her not be scared of men. And of course, that could only mean one possible thing. That's right, they're going to play tabletop games together. Now, out here in the boonies, there's not that much in the way of actual stuff, but everyone has a deck of cards, so they spend all night playing gin rummy together. Okay, so that's not really what happens, but let's pretend. Okay, so here we are, it's the next morning, and getting ready to go. She says, don't worry about Alec, I'll keep an eye on him. It's like, you didn't need to say that. It's like, make sure to keep up your studies, expand your horizons and all that. The merchant says, Sharon's a good place, but Kana Village is the best. So apparently this place does have a name. The other's laughing, saying, you've got away with words. Asking Dean if he has anything to say to his son. Apparently that's Alec's father. Don't die, come back. A man of few words, apparently. Alec's mother says... Okay, that's Engi, that's like omen, whatever it's saying. Basically saying don't jinx him. Tina's father is asking her how far she's gone with him. It's not that kind of journey, is it? His mother saying, well, of course it is. Here, have some contraceptives. Don't have any children before you get married. Yeah, he's like, what are you two thinking? We don't have that kind of relationship yet. It's like, yet? So yeah, in case it wasn't obvious that she's interested in having that kind of relationship, that kind of seals it. Here's Frill telling him to go for it, and she'd like to meet him again. He's telling her to be well. She's decided to stay here in the village, and wants to get along with her Gwen here. Bit of a giggle. It's like, does she mean that in a weird way? But in any case, we're off. And here is Chapter 2, The Forgotten Princess. And here we are, arriving at the gates of the capital city of Sharon. We have much livelier music here. So this is Sharon, the king lives here at the castle. It's packed with people. She's embarrassed at how much of a fuss he's making, telling him to not make so much noise. Here in front of a big gate, going to the village, or city. Okay, so where does Karen live, he asks. Tina's never been here, but she did find out where it is, so this way. Saying this place is huge. It's a mansion after all. She's living in this big house. Karen really is amazing. And Tina's a little worried because doesn't see how you can live in some place this big without being into some bad stuff. And she doesn't want to think that her sister is involved in bad stuff. And here we have a new character, as you can see from the fact that she is voiced and has her own character sprite. She's going to be important. She also talks a little funny. She looks a bit childish, but talks like an old woman. And he's a little startled. Yep, she's still talking like that. And this first part, Kono Celsia. So Celsia would be her name. This way of talking is a bit pretentious, but apparently this is her mansion. Saying, I'll call the Zards if you're not supposed to be here. Fushinsha? Yeah, suspicious persons. She's telling them to leave. It's like, hey, we're not suspicious. This is Karen's house. What's a little kid like you doing here? You don't have the money to buy a place like this. She objects to being called little. Yeah, she is calling him a fool, being annoyed that he's mocking her, saying she could easily buy a few mansions like this. It's like, yeah. I have trouble affording next month's food. There's no way you can buy a house. She's not amused. Tina's getting upset, worried again. Alec's saying he needs to teach a stuck-up kid a lesson. And Tina points out her clothes look really expensive. It's like, well, what of it? And here's Karen. She, of course, recognizes Tina and Alec. She's like, what are you doing out of the village? It's like, he's, of course, excited to see her. It's been a while. There's something he wanted to talk to her about. So he came all the way to her house. He's like, well, that's okay, but what's going on here? I heard some raised voices. He's saying basically he's in the middle of trying to tell off this kid who doesn't know her place. It's like, this is your house, so she's calling her house, so you should say something too. And Celsia is telling her, why don't you explain to these fools who I am? Yes, Alec, would you listen? And of course I'll listen to anything he tells her, or she tells him. Oh, she is not amused. This is what's called Keigo. It's very respectful language, but basically she's saying, this is Celsia Reintis, Princess Celsia Reintis, the daughter of the current king, Greyville Endralium, His Majesty, etc. And this is her mansion. She received it from her father. Karen is working for her, and that's why she's living here, and that's all. Karen says, that's exactly right, Princess Celsia. Denka, it's basically your Highness, I think, as opposed to Your Majesty. I can never keep this straight. Your Highness, Your Majesty, Your Excellence, the nobility terms of addresses. It's like, now do you understand, Alec? Yeah. But Tina's basically telling him, apologize to the princess, your face in the ground and beg for forgiveness. Like, hey, Tina, knock it off. You're hurting my head. Fortunately, she's not too upset and says you can lift your head. Karen's telling him, you're lucky she's such a nice person. It's like, is she? But she seems such like such a brat. It's like, Alex didn't say anything, Your Highness. Karen's telling her that, she shouldn't have come at her out on her own. Karen is telling Celsia she shouldn't have come out here on her own, and it's fine that it was just Alex and Tina, but it could have been dangerous. Like, well, it's your fault for being slow to move. Not gonna waste time. Anyway, seems you know these two. Let's get to the introductions. Little sister Tina and her childhood friend, Alec. And Karen is insisting that they're good kids. It's like, I don't know if I should be happy about being called a good kid or not. Anyway, Celsia observes that they seem to be here for Karen. So no point standing around out here, let's go inside. Get some tea ready. Saying, don't scare me like that, you don't talk like that to the royalty. Because you could get yourself executed. It's like, huh. Wasn't expecting a kid like that to be such a big deal. The capital's really something else. At the palace, rather. It seems that Celsia is the only daughter that the previous queen left behind. So ever since there's been a new queen, she's found it difficult to be around the palace. And Karen is telling them to be nice to her. Anyway, Karen noticed they're here for a particular purpose, asking what that is. Alex saying, well, he's inspired after her, wants to become a monster tamer, but he's having trouble. Like, I can summon monsters, but I can't get their skills. And how come other monster tamers can do it so easily and I can't? It's bothering me. Asir, what should I do? Like, well, you've really been trying. Good boy, good boy. Pats him like a little puppy. Again, probably not quite what he's going for. He obviously has a crush on her, and she obviously doesn't see him the same way. She's treating him like a little kid still. It's like, well, both of you will always be children to me. It's like, you too, Tina. Good girl. She's mildly annoyed, but... Okay, do you have any ideas? It's like, well, I don't really think about anything when I get the skills. It just kind of happens. Maybe I'm really not suited for this. The only thing she can say is that you can't be having walls between yourself and your monsters. You need to have everything out in the open. Accept everything, offer everything. It's like, offer everything, accept everything? It's difficult to put into words, but if you really like your monsters, you should be able to figure this out. And yes, they're monsters, but they're not that much different from us. And they're even those that can speak human words. So she wants him to, like, really care for his monsters and be fond of them and all that. It's like, Yeah. Anyway, Karen's saying she's going to talk to Celsi and see if she can arrange for them to stay here for a while, if that's alright with them. Gives them a bit of encouragement, and leaves. Tina asks him, do you understand what she was saying? It's like, I have no idea. It's like, my head hurts. Maybe you really aren't suited to being a monster tamer. It's like, don't worry. I'll try some things out with Caracal overnight. And I think I'll stop here for now. It's been a lot of story-heavy stuff. We had some dungeon exploration at the beginning, but there's going to be some more story stuff and exploring the town going on before we get back to dungeoning, so don't want to run too long. So for now, this has been Arafellin playing Dungeon Breaker. Come back next time for more, and I hope to see you then.